Please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online. Right. Right. Good morning, guys. And one small notice to everybody. I think some students are attending from evening 6 p.m. core Java batch. Just I'm giving this notice to you. Then this is not the right time to attend for frameworks. Those who are in the core Java at evening time, evening 6 p.m. There even I have not started hoops concepts. I have not started even hoops concepts. Before hoops only we are discussing just language fundamentals. I'm discussing there like how to write for loop, while loop, and do while loop. So it is not the right time to attend for frameworks. I think some people have registered for packages like complete Java and full stack Java. So this is not the right time for you. I will start separately. I'll start separately frameworks classes and advanced Java classes at evening time. But at present, for morning full stack Java students and some other students, we are taking these classes now. Okay. Then if any of you are coming from evening 6 p.m. core Java batch, then better not to attend for this class today onwards even, right? Today it's okay, it's a basic introduction part, then we can continue with that. But actual content is not required, then we'll plan for it separately. Okay? All right, sir. Now just give some time to me, then let me prepare some document and all. The classroom notes also we have to create. Right, sir. So let me create a separate folder for it. Now, this is frameworks actually. Part of the framework here, we are going to take like what there Spring 830. The location also we get specified clearly. So from now onwards, every work of our classes, I'm going to keep in like what there Spring 830. Then inside this, let me prepare a document. Right, sir. Now here, I need to provide Spring 830. Right, sir. Today in the introduction part, I'm going to talk about you regarding this, what I'm planning there, then what I'm going to discuss with you, then all the things here we are going to understand effectively only one time. Then after that, we'll move forward into our introduction content. All right, sir. Okay. Then see this. Then first of all, today here I'm starting these classes with the Spring, but actually we are we are planning to start like what there Java frameworks. The total batch, no, it is like what there Java frameworks. All right, sir. In a Java frameworks, what exactly the content here we are including there? In Java frameworks, the content here what we are including there? Observe carefully. In a Java frameworks, the topics will be few topics like what there. 1 minute. The topics will be like what there? Spring, then spring boat. First one is like what there? Spring. Next one is a spring boat. Next one is a microservices. These are like what there? One set of concepts, no? Then after that, web services. Like this here, we have to start. Then before that, I need to go for like what there? Like now here, we need to understand. All right, sir. Now here, first of all, I need to take like what there? Hibernate. Then next one is like what there? Spring. These are overall the topic here, the topics here what we are having there. This is overall syllabus. That means content about like what there? Java frameworks. Of course, you might be in complete Java package or you might be in full stack Java. Related to Java, this set is nothing but what there? Frameworks part. Here we are planning there. Today Java frameworks is a batch we started. Then where we are planning to discuss about these concepts. You know already the schedule for all these concepts there. 2 slots here I'm going to take to complete these concepts. No, observe carefully. Now 7 to 8:30, 7 to 8:30. Here I'm going to utilize one slot. There, what I'm going to discuss there. Then another slot is also be existed here. What is that another slot here? Now this will be like what the today. Then now here at present here we are taking the class there 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Here we are taking only one time. Let me confirm it. One time if I complete it, then I'll move on to our content here, right? So at present here, today here I'm planning to start like what there? Spring framework here now. Spring here I'm taking now. Okay, fine. Now it's going to be started. The Spring framework is going on here like this. I'm going to take the classes continuously about the Spring framework continuously like this. It's going to be started. Then after few days of time, actually servlets and JSPs are going on at 7 to 8:30. When I complete the servlets and JSPs, there I will start like what there? Hibernate. There I will start what there? Hibernate. So hibernate. Still Spring is going to be happen. It's going on there. When I complete Spring at 8:30 to 10 now, here I will take like what there? Spring Boot. The topic here I will start Spring Boot topic. Meanwhile, at 7 to 8:30, which topic is going to be happen there? No, Hibernate is going on there. So here we are planning to complete like what there? Hibernate here. Right, sir. Hibernate is going on. When Hibernate is going on there, when Hibernate is completed, here I'm going to start like what there? Web services. Meanwhile, here, what is going on here? No, Spring Boot is going on here at 8:30 to 10. So it's going to be happen. When the Spring Boot is completed, Spring Boot may take less time only, not too much time here. Then after that, I'll start like what there? Microservices. So at 8:30 to 10 now, at 8:30 to 10 now, continuously we are having the topics like what there? Spring Boot, microservices. But after a few days of time, I'll start Hibernate at 7 to 8:30. Once Hibernate is completed, there I will start what there? Web services. This is actual schedule what I'm going to follow. Part of the frameworks and as well as like what there, then part of the all right, the total overall content here. Now try to recognize this clearly. All right, sir. Then after that, let's come for this content here. Let's come for this Spring content here. If you have to this, in general, maybe then people are having some different opinion in outside. Even still people are coming to me, they're asking one question to me frequently, but I don't know what is the reason why they are getting this type of question, but frequently one question is coming. Sir, I selected for a company, they are given work on Spring Boot and microservices, but I don't know anything about Java. Especially at evening 6 o'clock people are asked to me now, so I don't know anything about Java. So can I learn Spring Boot directly, Spring Boot and microservices directly? Is it possible to learn Spring Boot and microservices directly? Right. Anyway, answer for this question is no, not at all. Without having knowledge on Java, how it is possible to learn Spring Boot and microservices? No. Understand it clearly. No, not possible. Leave this. Second question, another question here. What about this another question? No. Sir, I have knowledge on only core Java. Only core Java I know. Apart from that, I don't have any knowledge there. So can I learn Spring Boot? No. Again, this is a question here. No. Again, I'm telling to you, no. Not possible. See, it will be possible up to some part of the Spring Boot microservices. But once we are in some web environment, then how it is possible to understand that without having knowledge on the servlets and JSPs? No. Then before that, one more point I'm telling that to learn a Spring Boot, definitely we need Spring knowledge. Without having knowledge on Spring, it is not possible to understand Spring Boot and microservices. Understand it clearly. So without having prior knowledge on Spring framework, not possible to understand what their Spring Boot and microservices. Please recognize this clearly. So because of that reason only, I'm taking the classes like what the Spring onwards. Of course, in outside environment already observed that people are announcing a separate batch for Spring and microservices, Spring Boot and microservices. Their what trainers are also given. They are giving the information there. No need to understand the complete Spring framework. Just only basics of the Spring framework is sufficient to come for what their Spring Boot and microservices now. But again, I'm telling there, half of the knowledge only we are able to get if you follow that approach, not complete knowledge. I'll give the clarity why complete knowledge we are not going to get with that only basis of Spring framework now. I'll give the reasons later on. Don't worry for it. But the point what I'm telling to you, if you know the Spring framework completely, then it is very easy to understand Spring Boot and microservices. Without having complete knowledge on Spring framework, we are able to understand a little bit only in the Spring Boot and microservices. So because of that reason, we are going to use what there we are going to understand effectively Spring framework. After that only, I'll plan for what there Spring Boot and microservices. Don't hurry for it. Don't try to learn immediately Spring Boot and microservices. You are not going to understand complete internals. To understand internals of the technology, definitely we should have knowledge on what there Spring Boot, Spring, complete Spring. Simple example. Tell me, by using Spring Boot, what type of applications we are going to prepare? You want to prepare only core Java programs? Only standalone applications you want to prepare? No. The Spring Boot application is like a core Java application, but it will activate web application internally. It will start server internally, it will deploy the application to the server, and it will expose like what their web application. Understand my point? That framework is designed in that way. So because of that reason, without having knowledge on Spring, we are unable to understand Spring Boot. That's the point I'm telling you. Right? So that standard foundation is required in Spring framework also. For that purpose only, here today we are going to start what their Spring content. Again, I'm telling there, if any of you are expecting today directly Spring Boot, next to tomorrow microservice in the sense, forget about this course now, not required to attend for this course. The next complete Spring framework I have to discuss, then after that only I'll move on to what their Spring Boot and microservices. Again and again, I'm telling the same point. Now try to understand it clearly. All right, sir. Now coming to the Spring framework, what we are going to discuss actually in a Spring framework, what exactly the concepts here I'm going to discuss there. What modules here I'm going to discuss. Let us understand one time clearly. In a Spring framework, first one, introduction part, very good introduction here. We are going to see what is framework, what is the requirement to come for frameworks, why we need a Spring framework, why it is very good when compared with other frameworks. This kind of environment we are going to understand. Here in the introduction part, majorly, we are going to put much focus on what is a framework, what exactly the requirement of the frameworks. A simple question I'm asking there. To design web applications or enterprise applications, we have so many technologies. Servlets and JSPs are available, EJBC is available. Then apart from that, number of servers are available, like Tomcat, WebLogic, or something else. Then after that, IDs are available, Eclipse, NetBeans, maybe, and IntelliJ IDEA, so many. These many things are available to prepare and execute enterprise applications. Then still, what is the requirement to go for framework? What is the need of the framework? That solid introduction is required. That exact point we require. What is the requirement of the frameworks? That exact point is required. Then only we are able to understand the concepts now. After understanding the framework, requirement of the framework, so many frameworks are available in outside. So many frameworks are available. Then why we should go for Spring? What is the need of understanding the Spring? What are the specialties of the Spring? That we have to understand. So all this roundup we are going to see inside this introduction part. Moreover, inside this introduction part, we are going to understand clearly how many versions of Spring is available, how many modules are available inside the Spring, what is the purpose of each and every module. Even that introductory content also we are going to understand inside the introduction part here. That is one point. Next one, after that, next immediately we are going to see steps to prepare Spring application. What are the basic steps? What elements we require if you want to prepare a basic Spring application? Of course, core module application only. But before going to start core module, we need to have awareness on it, how to prepare the basic Spring project. Just to display hello world and console, how we are going to prepare that. Right, sir. Third one is like what there, where I'm going to start what there, core module. Core module, Spring core module, where IOC containers topics are available. Like application context and bean factory, like different containers are available. What is the need of these containers? What is the life cycle of the containers? Then after that, what is the meaning of dependency injection? Like so many core concepts are available. Internationalization support in Spring core module. Data validation support in Spring core module. Property editors in Spring core module. Dependency injection. And my point here, no? Like then after that, setter method dependency injection, constructor dependency injection, interfaces dependency injection. So many dependency injections that related topics are available. So many concepts are available. That core module is a heart for Spring framework. Core module is what their heart for Spring framework. Without having knowledge on core module, we are unable to understand anything in Spring framework. You know already core Java, right? In core Java, which topic is the heart in entire core Java? Object orientation. Without knowing object orientation, we can't do anything in the core Java. Once you are not having awareness on object orientation, no core Java, nothing about this Java. Similarly, in a Spring framework, the core module is available in that way. If you want to create a bean object and if you want to execute our business logic, container is required. The containers concepts will be covered inside like what their core module. If no container, no Spring framework. No container, no Spring framework. Answer my point here now. So because of that reason, core module is very important for us. Next one, after completion of this core module, we are going to start with what there Spring DAO JDBC module. DAO or JDBC, both are same here. DAO module is very small module only, but afterwards we will plan for what there JDBC module. All right, sir. What exactly the purpose of this JDBC module? Simple. For the sake of your awareness, I am talking there. Guys, can you tell me what steps we required to prepare JDBC program, normal JDBC program? What are the various steps we required to prepare normal JDBC programs? Can you tell me? First of all, load and register driver. Then what next one there? Establish connection. Then after that, after establish the connection, then what next one there? Create a statement or prepared statement or a callable statement. Then after that, write and execute SQL queries. Then after that, what next one there? Close the resources here. Am I right or not? Right, sir. Now here, these many steps here we have to write. So this is somewhat like what there boilerplate code. In every JDBC program, the same steps we have to repeat. So we can say that what there, then boilerplate code, some duplicate code every time now. But if you use the Spring JDBC module, no need to write all these things, directly only one step. Write and execute SQL queries. Only one method where we can write that SQL query, finish. The query is going to be executed. Understand it clearly. So the JDBC model is available. Very good advantages here we are able to get. Whatever the work, whatever the concepts we are able to learn in normal JDBC, all the concepts we are going to understand in a Spring JDBC module in a very simplified manner. In very simplified manner, we are able to understand, we are able to perform all JDBC operations. What we have seen in normal JDBC, everything we are going to see inside what there, that is Spring JDBC. Support is available, but in a simplified manner. Observe carefully. Leave this one. Then after that, after completion of this, there we are going to understand like what there Spring AOP model, AOP module, aspect oriented programming, aspect orientation. All right, sir. in core Java introduction part, I given the intention of this aspect orientation, like unstructured programming languages, structured programming languages, object-oriented programming languages. Then after that, I have discussed about like what I discussed there, no, aspect-oriented programming languages. That part I have discussed here. There, I given some kind of introductory part for that. If you remember that, it's okay, fine, no problem. But no issues. That AOP, aspect-oriented programming, is very much effective in the case of the Spring framework. Say for example, simple examples I'm telling to you how this AOP is going to be available, how it able to provide some services for us. No, try to understand it. Ken. Simple understanding, simple logic I'm telling to you. Try to understand it now. Say for example, I have a bank application. Listen, all of you listen carefully. A bank application. Okay. Previously, I given a check, some post-dated check or maybe pre-dated check, whatever it may be, some check I've given to some customer, some person in outside. I given my check to somebody else. Then he dropped the check into a bank. Now the bank people wants to perform some transaction over the check. Then immediately what bank people are doing for us now? I have an account. In my account, maybe some 10 lakhs rupees is available. 5 lakhs check I have given to somebody else. Now he dropped the check in the bank now. He want to take that amount. He dropped that might be check in the account in the bank now. Then the check is coming for clearance to a particular bank. Then immediately what bank people are going to do? They have to do transaction or not? Then what is the amount, 5 lakhs amount? They have to do transaction. Means that they have to debit 5 lakhs rupees from my account. They have to credit that 5 lakhs rupees to what their customer account. Got it or not? This is what the bank people have to do now. Now immediately understand this. The date of clearance for the check is what there today. The date of clearing the check is what there today, for example. Then when the check is coming today, immediately that bank people will give a notification to me. What is that notification? There no one particular check, the check number is like this, is coming for clearance. Try to maintain the proper balance in our account. In the case if balance is not available in the account, what is going to be happen? The check bounce is going to be happen or not? It's the case actually. Understand my point now? So here I have to maintain the proper balance. Immediately, bank people will send a notification for us. Today a check is coming for clearance. Or maybe today or tomorrow we are going to perform, we are going to process the check. Please try to maintain the required amount in our account. Bank people are giving this notification to me. Either through text message or through mail or maybe a call. Okay. I maintain the proper amount. That's okay. When they got confirmation I have the proper amount, immediately our bank people and will clear the check, will perform the required transaction. Okay, transaction is completed. When transaction is completed, then immediately what I'm able to get now? I'm able to get again a notification or not? Again, we're able to get some notification or not? Answer my point clearly. So when I got a notification, how that notification is coming there? So some amount is debited from our account because of clearing the check, and its number is like this, some check number. Some amount is debited from our account for the sake of processing this particular check. There we are getting some notification. Here overall 3 activities I'm telling there. When check is coming to the bank for clearance, no, bank people are giving intimation to me. Point number 1. Second one is what there, when I maintain the proper balance, no, actual transaction is performed. Transaction is gone, completed. Number 3, after the transaction, about the amount debiting operation, I'm getting another notification. Got it or not? So now out of these 3 things, now tell me where actual business logic is going on. Out of these 3 things, no, 3 activities, no, giving notification about the check clearance. Second one is to perform the transaction, debit some 5 lakhs rupees from my account, no. Third one is like what there, giving information, giving notification about the amount debit. Out of these 3 activities, no, where actual business logic is going on. The actual business logic is going on with the debit operation or not? Answer my point, guys. The actual business logic is going on with the debit operation or not? Then first one and last one are what? They're just giving notifications. It's not the part of business logic. Our actual business logic is what? They're debiting some amount. Got it or not? Okay. But before debit amount, some activity we performed. After debit amount, some activity we performed here. Get my point or not? So to perform some activity before the business method execution, after the business method execution, we need some environment. That environment could be provided by what there? AOP, aspect oriented programming. In the form of some advices, before advice, after advice, something is available there. Around advice is available. To do some activity before the business method execution, to do some other activity after the business method execution. So something is going to be utilized there. The something is provided by what there? AOP module, aspect oriented programming. This is one simple example here I'm telling to you now. Like this, so many examples are available. Say for example, in my enterprise application, some logging support I required. Logging. What is the meaning of this logging there? Of course, then I forgot to specify that point here. Along with this web services here, along with all these things, the programming I'm going to prepare like with what there? Maven. So far we are not aware about this Maven, but application development is going on completely with Maven. One or two applications without Maven I can prepare. I will show without Maven what work we have to do. And then after completion of the basic programming, then I will start Maven. Then I will discuss about Maven. Then through Maven we are going to understand the remaining part here, the remaining course here. 95 to 97% of the course is going on with Maven only. Without Maven, we are not going to prepare the applications now. This is required. Next one is like what there? Log4j. I need to prepare. Log4j. For the sake of logging purpose, I'm going to discuss these two. So with these two, I'm going to prepare the applications here now, as a part of the syllabus only. Right. Now let's move on to the point here. One more example here I'm telling there. My enterprise application required what there? Logging service. Logging service is required. What's the meaning of this logging service? No. What's the meaning of this logging service here? Say for example, logs generation, you might be aware about it. Or simple examples I'm telling to you. If you go for server side applications, I think might be you aware about WebLogic server. At morning 7 o'clock, I shown some examples there. WebLogic server, JNDI, data source, and WebLogic server. When I start WebLogic server, when a command prompt is opened, server prompt, server console, here in the server prompt, some text data is displaying continuously. At least you might be recognized. Server state is changed to running mode, something else. You are getting that messages now. What are these messages actually? All these are logs only, logs of the server. Logs of the server. Okay, even forget this one. If you go for any normal organizations, say for example, Durga Soft, best example I'm telling them. Durga Soft has some employees now. Durga Soft has some employees. What they are doing there? Maybe shifts wise, some employees are coming there. 7 to 2, one shift. 2 to 9 is another shift, for example. When an employee is coming inside the Durga Soft front office, no, then immediately, what is the first work my employees are doing there? At the entry level, there is a logbook. In that logbook, they have to enter startup time, start time. They have to give a signature. Then they have to write the time and they have to give a signature. When their shift is completed, then what they have to do? Log out to time, log in time, log out to time. Immediately they have to give some information or not. So that is what their logbook. In that logbook, logs are going to be entered. Similarly, we can apply the same thing even for servers also. When we start the server, immediately server has to provide server startup in this particular minutes of time. There is a log on the server console. When I shut down the server, immediately there is a message, no, server shut down in this particular time. Okay, I started the server. I deploy my web application there into the server. So application is deployed in this particular time. When I undeploy the application, again, we have a message. This application is undeployed in this particular time. I submitted some request to my application there. Then request is coming in this particular time from the user. When a response is generated in this particular time. So they're nothing but what they're logs. So the process of maintaining these logs is nothing but what they're logging. The process of maintaining these logs is nothing but what they're logging. To maintain that logs, to manage that logging, we need to go for one service. That service is nothing but what they're logging service. To inject this logging service in my enterprise application, we required some approach, especially in Spring Framework, one approach is required to inject this logging service into my application. There we have to go for like what there? Aspect orientation. Now here logging is an aspect. That aspect we are going to be injected into our enterprise application, where we are going to do with what there? AOP, aspect oriented programming. Not only that. Number of services are available outside. Logging service, maybe security service, transaction service, maybe so many services are available. Middleware services, no. All these middleware services, if you want to integrate with our enterprise application, where AOP model is providing very good support for us. That's one thing here we have to understand them. Nice. Then after that, after completion of this AOP module, there we are going to understand like what there Spring transaction module. What is the next one? Spring transaction module. Observe carefully. For the sake of transactions, guys, so many things are available. First of all, we have to understand what is a transaction. After understanding the transaction, what exactly the asset properties of the transactions. Asset properties are available: atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability. Then we're out of all these things. The main important one is what there? Atomicity. How to achieve this atomicity? How to achieve like what there? What next one? No, isolation. Some isolation levels are available. Answer my point, Keno. Then after that, some attributes are available. Some attribute behaviors are available. So all these concepts we are going to be implemented in our applications, in our enterprise applications. So to provide some support for the transactions in our enterprise applications, there we have to go for like what there? Spring transactions module. That Spring transaction module is providing the complete support for what there? Transactions, Keno. That we are going to understand anyway. Right, sir? Then in the transaction module, we are going to understand the content here. Then after that, after completion of these transactions, Keno, after completion of these transactions, the next one is like what I'm telling there. I'll go for like what there, Spring ORM. Spring ORM, object relational mapping. It's like what there, integration of Hibernate. Integration of what there, Hibernate. Okay, see, understand it clearly. I think some of you are not aware even that ORM. Don't worry, I'll explain clearly to you. It's somewhat related with Hibernate, but I'll give some basic content here. Try to understand it now. Listen, all of you listen carefully. To interact with the database from Java application, what technology we have to use as of now, as per your knowledge? To interact with the database from Java application, what we have to use? Come on, JDBC we have to use. Of course, the JDBC may be plain JDBC or Spring JDBC, that doesn't matter. JDBC we are going to use. Right. In the basic JDBC, in the plain JDBC, 5 to 6 steps we are using. Out of all the steps now, to perform database operations, what step we require now? Tell me. To perform database operations, what step here we have to perform? Write and execute SQL queries. Am I right or not? To write and execute SQL queries, how many methods we are using there now? Tell me. Right, sir. To write and execute SQL queries, overall, how many methods here we are using? 3 methods here we are using. Am I right or not? What are the 3 methods here we are using there? Execute query method, execute update method, and execute method. These 3 methods here we are using. Got it or not? Okay, good. Execute query, execute update, and execute method. 3 methods here we are using. Got it or not? Nice. If you take any of these methods, of course, you know, execute query method is for select SQL query. Execute update method is for what there? Non-select SQL queries. Execute method is for the sake of what there? Both the types of SQL queries. Already you are aware about it clearly. But even if we take any of the method, there we have to write SQL queries or not. Select the star from EMP1, update SQL query, delete SQL query, drop SQL query, create SQL query, select SQL query. In all 3 methods, we have to write SQL queries or not. If you want to write SQL queries in JDBC program, you should know you must have knowledge on Oracle database or not. We must have knowledge on SQL or not. So that is the JDBC environment. So final point is what there. If you want to work with JDBC, you must know SQL queries. So you must have SQL knowledge. Is it possible to prepare JDBC application without having SQL knowledge? No. Basically, we have to write SQL queries or not. So you must have SQL knowledge. Got my point or not? But here my point is what there. I want to interact with the database and I want to perform all my database operations without using even a single SQL query. Without having any knowledge on single SQL query, I want to interact with my database. I want to perform the required database operations. In a JDBC, execute query method with the select SQL query. Then only we are getting the data. Result set object is coming. From the result set object, we are reading the data by using while rs.next method, by using sys.out.println of rs.get xxx methods. Got it or not? But what is the alternative I'm expecting there? Basically, myself is a Java developer, but I don't have any knowledge on SQL. I don't know anything about SQL, but still I want to perform database operations now. Then in my alternative, what I want to do there, I want to prepare a Java bean object. Java bean class, Java bean object, I'm going to prepare employee bean. I'll create employee object. Inside this employee object, I will keep data, ENO, ENAME, ECL, EAD data. Directly, I'm going to store that employee object into the database table without writing any insert SQL query. Without writing any insert SQL, just I want to use a Java method. That method is what their save method or a persist method. Just by using save or persist method, entire object I want to insert into the database table. Not required to write any SQL query, not required to write any insert SQL query. Or else already table is available. Already we have what there, one record is available. Now I want to update the data. Take again Java bean object. Insert the Java bean object, provide primary key value. Along with this primary key value, provide that data, normal data. What new data we want to update there, provide the data. Provide the data. Then simply access update method. Simple access what method? Java method, update method. Even I'm not writing any update SQL query, just Java method, update method. To that update method, pass that object. Which object there? No, respective employee object. Automatically, updations have to be performed internally. I want to get an object. I want to get a particular record. That's my requirement here. In a plain JDBC, what we have to do there? Result set rs is equal to st.execute query of select a star from emp1, where eno is equal to 111. Lot of instruction we have tried. But in my alternative, what I want to do there, just I want to call only get method. Get off the respective class I'm going to provide. Get off employee dot class. Automatically record will be retrieved from the database. That record data will be stored in the form of a bean object. That bean object is available to my application. I'm going to get the data from bean object. I'm not going to use any SQL query, but without using SQL queries, I'm able to get the data. I'm able to insert the data. I'm able to perform all the database operations. And finally, I'm going to work with only Java bean objects. Now, this alternative, this one is exactly possible in the case of Hibernate. In the case of what there? Hibernate, it is possible. Without knowing SQL queries, without using SQL queries, we can interact with the database, we can perform database operations. That is the main advantage with what there? Hibernate. Yes, sir, got my point or not? Now, what Spring is doing there? Spring doesn't have its own persistence mechanism, but Spring is able to provide some environment to integrate what their Hibernate applications. We can prepare Hibernate logic separately. Spring application is available. That Spring Hibernate application logic I want to integrate into my what there Spring